which team is going to make it to Championship Sunday and which is going to be sent home. We find out now as the gates open. You guys think that XRB is going to be able to take it by 73%. Let's see if you're right.
All right, Reform, the most aggressive team in the world, hands down, are going to be leading the charge as they gun down for Z-Pi. Astral Shift deflects the kill. Z-Pi is looking to toss some damage back with a huge Stormkeeper, critting big onto Dizio, but Relza is stabilized. Looney still sitting through crowd control, but a Cap Totem could secure an opening. Earthquake proc into the Fell Lord. Great stun lock on Dizio. Relza's going to recover with the Rapture. Z-Pi is falling behind. Looney starting to struggle here. Will this be the Ironbark? He's trying to be greedy. Now he's caught into a full stun. Z-Pi dipping down below half, but hanging on. Now Relza into the fear. Dizio has to aspect of the turtle. Looney's going to trade out that tree of life. That's going to be immediate recovery for Z-Pi. And Flappers is so far behind. The aggression is starting to be thwarted away as XRB to the moon swing this game in their favor.
Yep, Flappers charging in. Z-Pi's already used that stone form. He's going to be chasing him down. Full fear on Looney. Looney in and out into the full trap. He's trinkets out of that. Doesn't want to fall behind. Death Coil's coming in from Walrick as well. So I like that spec adaptation coming in from Walrick. Help his team get a little bit more aggressive. Full bash secured onto Looney as well. Z-Pi still just trying to kite away the best he can. Relza's committed so much of his mana at this point. The full bash on Flappers. Fear onto Relza. Uses the premonition. Can he keep Flappers alive? He gets stunned up. Too much damage coming in from XRB, and they will claim game number 1.
We talked about them potentially figuring out how to play against this composition. It was something that they knew they needed to do, but ultimately XRB to the moon going to have a really quick game for a team that typically does want to get into that dampening range. Zika, what was that change of strategy that enabled them to come out of the gate so hot?
I mean, this is typical XRB versus Reformed. The game starts. Everyone has the most offensive talent choices. If you're a healer, the most healing per second, the most mana inefficient ways to heal the matchup. I mean, just look at this. This game literally just started. Look at Relza's mana. He's on 10% mana. This is how this matchup always plays out. Spamming the spells, ultimate radiance. They literally just don't care, and they're just trying to beat aggression with aggression. And we saw Warwick's here adapting his specialization a little bit for that Death Coil, so he can get those double coils out and get a little bit more control over this chaos essentially that's going on when these two teams face, and it works out for them in this game.
And one of the things that we already saw is Reformed getting beat with aggression today. It kind of seems to maybe be what is working out. Do you think that this is how XRB could potentially knock them out of this tournament?
I think it's definitely possible. We saw it work out against Skill Cap Red, and I think in game number 1 it worked out quite nicely for them as well. There's only one moment where Z-Pi was really scared, and after he had committed his stone form and sort of reset those feral bleeds, it just seemed like XRB had all the pressure and momentum in their favor and were ultimately able to close out the game. The only thing I'm wondering is, with this spec choice from Walrick, do you think if they go on to him, it could really punish the fact that he doesn't have a portal?
Yeah, I think that's the adaptation that Reform needs to do for sure. If they need to target Warwick's and Z-Pi essentially. That's what they usually do, and Warwick's should be their main target. At least if they don't see him cast up a portal at the start of the game, then they can assume he's playing Death Coil, and they should definitely look to punish that.
Definitely. I think that may be the adaptation that they really do need here, but XRB going to be off to a strong start, and with that, Super Tees, they get to play once again with Warwick on Demonology and Z-Pi on Ellie.
Right, Blades Edge Arena is a peculiar map. Maybe they just don't want Mortal Coil. Walrus kind of has to play Portal on this map.
We saw this before. You guys remember what Reform did was, as soon as the gates opened, they ran under the bridge, and then they opened on Warwick's immediately before he could get a gateway out, before he could get his port set up, all that stuff. And I remember last time we criticized it. We were like, well, it's a Warlock, it's Blade's Edge, this is not good. But when you do that straight beeline, when the gates open, you just run across under the bridge, you actually can, as a Feral Druid, interrupt that opening defense setup, so to speak, that the Warlock has to do.
The ramifications of this matchup, too, are going to be quite high. If XRB to the moon is able to win, Tempo Storm, guaranteed land. Guaranteed land. So that is, yeah, everybody's faces right now.
I'm literally looking at the chart.
Everybody, nobody trusted me on the desk, and I just hear the director go, yeah, that's right. So,
like, okay,
checks out. So ultimately, that's not even math, it's just a fact. Ultimately, that is going to be the case. So we're starting to see the teams that locks up another spot. We already knew coming into today that we had two teams. This could be the third if we see XRB continue this momentum. And then everything is going to be that race for that 4th spot. Potentially, as Super T's mentioned, we could have tiebreakers and things of the like, but guys, we are already moving along here. XRB to the moon, able to take down that first win. If they can take down this series, they guarantee one of the teams going to land. Will they be able to do it against one of the most aggressive jungles in the entire world?
And I don't think Reformed are going to be a team to back down. I can imagine they're going to go out guns blazing to chase down Walrix on Blades Edge Arena. We could be going to a game 3-1-1 as the gates open. Walric's not even going to go for a gateway. He's just taking the portal downstairs so he can line of sight the Hunter. Looney trying to reposition stun on Dizio early on, trying to slow down the aggression. Mortal Coil to deny the trap for a couple seconds, allowing Looney to escape. Great Mortal Coil from Walrix.
Yeah, Dizio still charging in, wants to land that crowd controls as Walrix looks like he is the target of choice. Iron Bar committed by Looney. They're just going right through it. Walrix in a lot of trouble right now. Looney has to trinket out as well. Super aggressive play coming in from Reform.
Yeah, Walrix activated that stone form, got all the bleeds off. Now they're going after Relza, which is a bit peculiar, but it's putting him very far behind. That Fell Lord got maximum value. Walrix trying to line up some fears, switch the burst now over to Dizio. Relza gets Hex, Flappers gets stunned. Good cross CC, unfortunately breaking early. Walrix still has any resolve. He's in a good position. Reformed are falling behind. Rapture is going to be ending shortly. Relza doesn't have any more cooldowns really to pick his team back up. It's all or nothing. Looney caught into a double bursting shot with Z-Pie. Walrix is completely stable though. Dizio has to turtle. Mortal Coil on Relza. He's getting coiled away. And suddenly XRB to the moon suddenly looked like the most aggressive team ever with the split pressure on 3 targets. They're trying to punch through the unending resolve. Do they have enough damage to do it? Ferocious fight right at the last second. Looney gets a Smith Man. 5 seconds to Iron Bark. 4 seconds to Iron Bark, and they're not going to do it. They were so close to easily swinging that match in their favor, but with a target selection change from Reformed, they're bringing us tied game here. We're winning game 3.
And that was exactly what we thought may need to happen to switch this one up. But with that change, how does the rest of the series look for you? Obviously, it works out here. We're tied up 1-1. But is this a change that can ultimately ride them all the way to victory?
I think the map played a huge role in this matchup. I think that Warwick's should be fairly difficult to take down still on a larger map if they pick something like Asha Mains maybe. I think Warwick's is still going to have a lot of space that he can use in between these in between these trap setups. So it was super close as well that Warwick's actually lived here. He used his unending resolve very early and he kited well, but at the end of the day, Looney just quite couldn't manage to keep him alive here. So close to getting that Iron Bark back off cooldown, which most likely would have stabilized Warwick's in that situation. So it was close. But I think this is also Reformed's best map. They have picked this map in the past against XRB in particular, and they always win on Blade's Edge. Always.
That was exactly what I was going to bring up. This is just such a good map for them. They use it, and they are able to come out on top more times than not. But guys, we're going to have to run to a quick break. When we return, who's going to take the lead in this series is going to be XRB or Reformed. we're back to the theme of the day of everything being all tied up. Method Black was the only team to be able to make it so quick, but ultimately Reformed versus XRB to the Moon is going to have even higher stakes than that matchup. Not only will one of these teams be eliminated, but if we see XRB take it, Tempo Storm's going to nab that third spot to head to the LAN. My name is Rich. I'm going to be your host, and we're joined by Zico, Supatiz, and Veruki on the desk. Guys, with the little strategy changes that we've seen to adjust course here, we obviously expect to see the same compositions. We know that the maps are going to be important, but Zico, who do you think comes out on top at this point now that we're tied up 1-1?
That's a tough question. I feel like I don't know. It's a rough one. I think Reformed might take this one 3-2, but I could honestly see it go either way. I think this map in particular could definitely go to XRB just because we saw them as well pick this map against Skill Cup Red earlier today and had a very dominant performance. They like to sit in that room and kind of abuse the choke points when you try to get into that starting room on Black Rock Hold. So I think that this map is definitely going to favor them, but I don't see them having another map that's going to be as good as this one. So I think Reformed could come back in this one if they lose this map.
Guys, it's not very often that Zico calls a match toss-up. Usually comes out with that analysis, picks one team over the other, but that is how close this one truly is. Tied up 1-1, Reformed versus XRB to the Moon. Who will find momentum here?
Yeah, and think about the pressure for both of these teams. Just 1 minute long games where everybody's dead and everything is on the line as Reformed charges in once again. Dizio, Flappers, and Relza. Who's their target going to be? Full bash on the Looney. Looks like Walrick is going to be the target of choice. You can see Zipai getting immediate damage, but it gets deflected by a nice powered barrier.
All right, Walrix is really on the back foot. He had to use Unending Resolve and Stoneform, I believe, right off the bat. That's his two major defensives. They're trying to get a counter kill at the same time with Dizio dipping to half. Relz has got Rapture rolling in Archangel. He's going to be very powerful heals. He shields. Walrix now in trouble. He's got no portal. Hex gets dispelled. All they need is a little bit damage to put Walrix over the edge. The next trap on the Looney. If they can fear the trinket or stun the trinket, they could just close the game. There's the stun. Where's the trap? Zipai's trying to dogpile on top of it. Walrix is trying to eat the trap. He can't go for it. Dizio doesn't want to risk missing the trap. It's putting his team further behind. Flappers gets cloned at 10%. They can switch any crowd control fear onto Relz, and the clone is finishing. Flappers is dangerously low. Bursting shot. Will he secure the trap? Dizio gets knocked away. He goes for the Wyvern Sting instead, but Dizio now gets done. He trinkets out. Walrix is restabilized. Back to full HP. It's a race to the finish. Full stun onto Relza. He's just going to trinket out. Trying to top his team. Looney has managed to hold onto his trinket throughout this whole game. Pressure completely in their favor now. Winter onto Relza. Into a spell lock. Locking both schools of magic as Flappers is on 10%. A trap on the Looney. Flappers is likely to fall and does. XRB to the Moon come out with so much counter pressure. The dogpiling to eat the trap really put Dizio behind. He didn't want to risk missing it, but because all three members were so close to each other, it was too difficult to go for. And the positioning change from XRB really got them ahead.
It's absolutely insane to see them getting out aggressed here. Beautiful play by XRB to the Moon, and now they're only one away from taking it. It's crazy to think, too, that this may be the thing that actually enables Tempo Storm to make it, Ven.
Yeah, it absolutely is crazy, but I can't comment enough on XRB. They're just dogpiling. Like, the positioning of this game is just so, I don't want to say goofy, but it's a little bit goofy. They're just trying to out-counter pressure Reformed the best they can in this matchup. Looney gets the defensive Walrix and Zipai dogpiling on him for the trap and just putting out as much pressure as possible. You can see Looney actually trinketed out of a bash there, get the bash on Flappers, and Relza was just way too far behind at that point to really catch up.
It seems to be like it's these crazy little things that are actually needed to beat Reformed. I mean, we haven't seen many teams able to do it, and now all of a sudden, of course, you do take into account last time that they were online, they did struggle to actually make it to the LAN. It was at the LAN where really they caught fire. They were absolutely insane. But Zico, XRB to the Moon has definitely been doing their homework.
Oh yeah, for sure. XRB, I really gotta commend them on the fact that in the first game they switched up to that Mortar Coil and they gave them that blind pick edge, just switching out that talent, getting that extra little bit of disruption to help out Zipai in that game was very key for them to actually be able to take it. Then the Reformed coming in with that good map pick, executing well on Blade's Edge Arena, but then again XRB answers with this similar map pick where they have the edge, where they can force Reformed to be in that position where they have to go in and XRB is completely stacked up. They can AoE everybody down and just do all this work. So next map is going to be very, very telling, because if Reformed manages to win it and it's kind of a neutral pick, that could be something that kind of sets the pace for game number 5.
Well, that is the main thing that you need to know. The XRB, they can close it out here, but if they don't, they got that momentum coming out of game number 3, so they have that advantage, Supatis, headed into game number 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's really that much of an advantage. It seems like both the teams are just going to keep going head-to-head. Dalaran Sewers, small map, obvious choice for Reformed, but at the same time, XRB to the Moon seems to be just bathing in the aggression at this point. They don't care. It's like, you want to go aggro, we're going to equally go aggro on the opposite side.
I'm pretty sure Walk didn't even drop a gateway. He could have.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't even drop a gateway.
Doesn't do damage, as Rich Campbell
We're standing still.
It's the Fabio strat.
Yeah, and it works. We criticized Fabio for it, but maybe
Didn't
that
work when he did it.
Maybe that was the right play. So it's like it doesn't. The map matters a little bit, but at the same time, you're just standing in one position on the map, not really moving, not really utilizing too much of it, besides these little dungeonous areas like on Blackrock Cold Arena.
Well, that's the thing. It did matter on that map, right? They were actually able to use that little room quite a bit. And the thing is going to Dalaran Sewers, though, another small map, how are they going to actually interact with this map? Are they going to be dropping around a lot? Are they going to be using those crates?
I think the biggest thing is just making sure that Relza has some sort of line of sight on Blackrock Cold Arena. When he's in that room, there's no way he can line of sight. So he's a pressure point. He takes all of that cleave damage. You know, on Blade's Edge Arena, he has that little pillar. Even though they're all grouped up, he can avoid some of the crowd control and some of the damage going on to him.
Do you know what map is still left in the pool? The final resting place. And I'm pretty sure XRB are going to pick it if they lose this match.
In the room.
And then just AFK in the room.
In the dungeon.
Come Reformed. Stay out there and get dampened, or come in here where it's nice and cozy. There might be a thunderstorm going on.
I mean, it seems like a very good strat coming out there. If they aren't able to win here, XRB obviously going to be able to play their composition, and I'd be surprised if Reformed switched anything up.
No, I mean, they just put the gas pedal down. I mean,
what's the strat?
Just whatever happens. They're gonna keep doing it. So, and it's really scary, because when a team has no fear, basically, there's just zero fear. It's like, well, we're on match point. If we don't win this, we're not going to the land. But I don't care. We're running at you again. It can throw you for a loop because you don't expect that. So it's definitely a double-edged sword, but it's still a sword. So XRB to the Moon definitely needs to dodge. They're doing a good job so far in the series with their counter pressure, obviously with the map disadvantage at Blade's Edge. But now it seems like if there's any sort of little nook and cranny that they can get into and just stack everybody up and try and trap them. I dare you. Try to trap them. I'm sitting right here. Oh, there's also a Fel Lord here too. So I don't know if you want to be here, but we're here. So I don't know, man. It's looking more and more in favor of XRB.
What do they just stand under the sewer? Just get
under the
go
pipe?
Out of the sewer, just stand. Yeah, right under the pipe.
Is there realistically a place that they could try to get that strategy going? Would it be under the sewer?
I feel like that would be the spot where just like Relza doesn't have a pillar anymore. You get cleave damage onto him.
And just wait there.
Yeah.
Seeker, do you think that would be something that could work?
It could work, but I think more realistically, XRB are probably going to try to play behind that box, like on that little staircase behind it, in that little area towards the corner. I think that's where we're going to be able to see them set up these big Fel Lord AoE combos that we see them do.
Okay.
But ultimately, if they aren't able to get the win here, Supatis already kind of started to, or you actually already started to mention, maybe we just go to Ruins. Is there a way that we could see Reformed come out on top in Ruins?
I mean, maybe. I mean, anything can happen when it's just a jungle cleave running at you. Like, if they get a lot of crits, you're probably going to die. So, I mean, definitely a possibility.
Roll, get the dice. All right, we're going right in.
Yeah,
triple sixes.
But also, the thing is, though, is if they're forced in that position, that's definitely not the position you want to be forced into, right? Having to depend on something like that, walking right into the hand of the opponent. Let's see how XRB to the Moon decides to play this one. They could take it here. If they do that, we know 3 of the teams out of 4 going to the international land.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 5 seconds away. Reformed need to swing this back if they want to stay in the top 4. XRB will lock in Tempo Storm's spot if they manage to win this. Tempo Storm are praying. XRB, please. But Reformed could still swing it back. Dizio moves in, drops the snare trap. Relza pushing forward, and yes, Reformed, I believe, are going to go all-out aggression again. We see Dizio caught into a stun. Walrix could pull the trigger on that Fel Lord. They're stacked up for the trap, but they go for a Wyvern Sting instead. Now they're forced to try and retreat away. Psychic Scream attempt here from Relza, but he gets Cap Totem right before it. He's going to use the Human Racial to go for it. They might even attack Looney. We see a Rake Stun onto Looney. They are going to target him a bit. They're trying to mix it up and catch Looney off guard. lot of damage. Frenzy Regen should bounce his health back, though. They managed to get a Bark Skin. They need to go after Walrix again. Will he end up throwing the game? We see Tree of Life. And Looney should be able to easily heal through this with Tree of Life and Trinket, which means XRB to the Moon are just going to mount more and more momentum.
Yeah, they need to be able to top off Walrick, though. Dizio taking some good counter pressure. Relza responds with the pain suppression, but he's into the fear. Stun on Flappers. He needs to keep himself alive as he goes to 5% HP. Trying to kite away. Relza doing everything he can to keep him alive, but runs out of steam, runs out of heals. XRB to the Moon, 3-1 over Reform.
And this is one of the times where it's like